Kpaceguy here. What's going on YouTube? Please excuse my mess. But we're going to do something pretty cool. I think it's pretty cool and you guys might enjoy it. So you can kind of see now, if you haven't noticed, that we have dethroned the big towers here and we have put in the bookshelves. And what we're going to do, you guys saw the title, we're going to run a full bookshelf system. So I have re-entered my dipole speakers from Folk Audio. I put them back in the system and then I moved my bookshelves that were in the rear to my front, and of course we're still using the same center channel. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to listen to a few things, we're going to watch a few things, put some music on, and see the differences in having a big tower or having a small bookshelf. And of course we're still going to have the PB4000s. Now I'm not going to change any of the settings that I had in Odyssey prior to changing my speakers out, because I don't want to have to rerun it again. So we're going to use the same properties as we had before. We're going to run these at 40 Hertz, cross them over to the subwoofer at the same hertz that we did last time, the same crossover we did last time. We're going to leave all the settings the same, but we're going to listen to a few things and see how they sound. Well, for me, I'll let you guys know what I hear and give you my best input for it. But before we do that, what I want to talk about is there are people who like to go to bookshelf speakers versus big towers like that, and you can see the size difference right there. Big size difference, and that's really the reason why people will get bookshelves over towers. Plus, towers cost a lot more than bookshelves do. So you may have a wife at home or maybe a family at home, a lot of kids, and you don't want the means of having a big tower speaker. You want a bookshelf speaker. Maybe it's a much smaller footprint. You can see the stands that they're on. Much smaller footprint, much more laid back, not so in your face. So there's a lot of different reasons why you want a bookshelf. So we're gonna first talk about why you'd want a bookshelf, and if you have bookshelves, how you should set them up, and then we're gonna listen to them and see how they sound compared to having a much bigger system. So when you run a full bookshelf system or even satellites, you're going to want to have a subwoofer if you're going to be watching home theater movies, stuff like that. If you have a home theater, you're going to want to pair them with a subwoofer. They're not going to be able to reproduce a lot of bass. Now they may be able to dig low. For example, my bookshelves, they get down to around 36, 35 hertz in most rooms. But that's not at a very loud volume. So they're not going to be able to handle a lot of bass that it's going to be pumping through your system. So you're going to want to get some really good subwoofers that you can cross over pretty high to take off the work from the from the bookshelf speakers to the power subwoofers. So you want to do that. So you're going to want to get really good subwoofers if you're going to run bookshelf speakers. You're not going to want to run them full range. Now if you're going to use this for music, then you can get away with a really good bookshelf. You can run that at full range and get some pretty good bass, or maybe double it with a small 8-inch subwoofer, and you can get some really clean sound out of that. But I definitely recommend almost 100% if you're going to get bookshelf speakers to run them with a subwoofer, just to keep them from working too hard and prematurely breaking down and giving up on you way early in their lifespan. Everybody has heard that running your speakers crossed over at 80 Hertz is kind of that sweet spot right there. It's what THX recommends, it's what most people recommend. And of course we all know if we're a little more intermediate in home theater that you can get away with different crossovers depending on how good or bad your speakers are, how good or bad your subwoofers are, and etc. If you have really good, really powerful towers, you may be able to cross them lower. And if you have satellites, you want to cross them higher. But 80 Hertz is usually that sweet spot, but it's definitely recommended to play with that. When you're running bookshelves, it's a good idea to start with that 80 Hertz range, because bookshelves can get usually around that 60, 65 Hertz, maybe 55 Hertz range. A really good bookshelf can get even lower. Again, these get down to the mid 30s on their own. So you're probably good at crossing them over no less than 60. If you have a smaller bookshelf, maybe 80 Hertz. But that should be a good point for you, and then cross your subwoofers at that point as well. And if you have a really good power center channel, a lot of bass will be coming from the center channel. You're going to have a lot of vocals here. You want to cross that. I think you should cross them about 60 or 80. 80 is probably a good place for that, because not a lot of bass is going to come through here. You don't want your center channel to be sounding really muffled. So you're going to want to cross it over pretty good. But if you're running a full bookshelf system, including the rears as well, you're going to want to run that start at 80 Hertz and then go from there. So why run bookshelves over big towers like that? Well, again, we talked about the footprint. You can see the size difference. You can almost barely see the speakers on the stands here. They kind of just blend into the rest of the decor. Not so big, not so tall, not so wide. And they still give you really good sound. And again, that's one of the biggest reasons to run a tower, but another really big reason is the price point. Usually when you buy a really good tower, they're not priced per pair. It's like maybe $600 for one, so $1,200 for the pair. And then for bookshelves like this, it can cost you $700. You can get 2 of them. So you can really piece your home theater together, get a really good system going for probably a fraction of the cost it would to get a tower there. So not only are you getting a smaller footprint, you're pleasing your wife, you're also getting a really good sound for a lot less money if you don't have the means of getting a really big tower or don't want a really big tower. You can get really good sound out of bookshelves. We're gonna show you guys that here in just a moment. We're gonna play a few demos, music and movies, and show you guys you can get really good sound. And we're gonna do it without the subwoofers. We all know how the PP4000 perform. They're fantastic, but we're gonna see how it sounds without it. And then we'll probably do a portion of it with the subwoofers on, just so you can see the blend and the conversation between the two and how they work together. Alright guys, so what we're gonna do now, I have a couple movie trailers that I'm gonna play for you. For copyright reasons, of course, I can't play a full movie and I can't show it on screen. But just for demo purposes, the sound purposes, we're gonna play this demo here, and just to give you guys an idea as best as I can, to let you guys know that you can get away with a bookshelf system and get really good sound. A lot of people don't want a big footprint for a system and they get a sound bar, but you can get some really good bookshelves that are just as small and you get a really good sound. So we're gonna play that here. And again, I have my subwoofers off. You can see the PB4000 here and one over there. They're completely off. And I'm using the bookshelf center and of course the surrounds there. Full system, just no subwoofers. Still crossed over the same way that I had them. Regardless of the subwoofers being off, they're still crossed over where they would normally be. So we're gonna play this trailer and let you guys get a good idea of what you can expect when running a bookshelf system.
Something happens to you when you leave this town. The farther away, the hazier it all gets. With me, I never left. I remember all of it.
To the losers?
We made an oath.
Swear? If it isn't dead, if it ever comes back, it will come back to you.
We didn't stop it.
Pennywise.
The clown. We can't let it happen again.
Hello?
Hello.
For 27 years, I dreamt of you. I craved you. I missed you. We need to finish it. For good.
We've seen all of us die. It consumes us from the inside until we don't have a choice anymore. You lied. And I died. You lied. And I died.
Alright, so we're going to play a quick little demo of music, and it's a non-copyright song on YouTube just for copyright reasons and such, but just to hear the vocals come through, just to hear what kind of bass reduction you can get out of the speakers. Here's a small little taste of what music will sound like if we're going to use it for a music purpose.
Right on the line, no. Losing it on you's the last thing if I'm honest, I'll just make you cry. And I don't wanna fight with you, I would rather lie to you.
so that was just a small quick demo, just some music and a little bit of a taste of a movie. And it really sounds really good. And again, I'm not anti-soundbar, but I really think there's other options out there that can really get you some good sound for a small footprint, and it doesn't cost a lot. Again, these bookshelves right here, you can find them really, really cheap, and they sound really, really good. They're not the smallest bookshelf, but they're definitely not the biggest, but they give you a lot of bass reproduction and a lot of good sound, and you can find many bookshelves that can do this for you. And if you don't want a big footprint, if you don't want big towers in the front of your living room, these will do very, very well. Put them on some small stands for about 20 bucks a pair, and you're gonna have yourself a good quality front stage. And then you can put bookshelves in the rears as well, or whatever you want them to do, guys. So you're not just stuck with big towers. A lot of people get tower speakers from their respective manufacturers, but you can actually go this route. You don't see a lot of people doing bookshelves, and it's out there, but you don't see a lot of people doing a bookshelf system, but you can. When I was listening to that movie, it sounded really, really good. I still got a good effect. I didn't miss anything. You can obviously tell the difference between a tower and a bookshelf because of the body that it has. You just has so much more oomph to it, more bass usually, at least with my system. And when it came to the music, there was a good little bit of bass to it. It had a nice little low end to it, and it wasn't very powerful. It wasn't too light either. It had a nice blend with the mid-range and with the top end. So you can really get a nice little system going with just bookshelves. And again, if you really want like that big, powerful, big as you can get sound, then maybe a tower makes sense for you. Or if you have the foot space, I would definitely always go tower. But if you don't want a big sound system, or you have somebody who doesn't want to put that in their living room, bookshelves can really get you a really, really good sound for not a lot of money. Of course, you'll need a receiver and all that other stuff, but I still think that's the way to go if you don't want a big footprint. So guys, I just wanted to show you some other ways to enjoy your home theater, other ways to start a home theater if you don't have one. You don't have to just get towers, you don't have to just get satellites, you can get something in between there and still get a good sound system, and it's not going to break the bank. So guys, that's going to be a quick video. You see my LG TV is tired of waiting on me, went to standby. So that's going to be it for that video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Just give you guys a different look on home theater, something a little less traditional than what you may be used to seeing. If you enjoyed this video, found it informative, or anything of the sort, leave me a comment down below. Have you had a sound system like this? Have you had a bookshelf system, or are you just a fan of towers only, or maybe you like satellites? Let me know in the comments below what you like to do in your home theater and how you do it. Also, hit that like button if you thought this video was informative, and hit that subscribe button because lately we've been having a lot of fun, and that's going to be the trend from here on out. A whole bunch of fun, guys. So hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for the next video, and we'll see you in the next one. Kpaceguy out. Peace.